I don't know why Netflix keeps making all these stupid ass dating shows, because all I'm going to do is watch every single one of them as a form of reverse protesting. That'll teach him a lesson. Alright, welcome to Taste Take. If you're new here, today we're breaking down the first 4 episodes of the new Netflix series, The Perfect Match. Now, I haven't seen any episodes after number 4, but we're going to be breaking down and dropping all these spoilies for the first 4 episodes. So if you haven't watched these first 4, you can leave and then come on back. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular taste takers, let's see if this perfect match makes fire. Get it? Like the perfect match makes fire. It was terrible. Quick background here in case you don't already know what mess we're getting ourselves into. The Perfect Match is a new Netflix dating show, but the twist here is that it's like a combination of all these Netflix reality shows. It's like an all-star game. So it includes people from shows like Twentysomethings, Selling Tampa, Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, The Mole, Too Hot to Handle, The Circle, even freaking Sexy Beasts. Now, I don't know about you, but I, for one, definitely did not watch all these shows. But it seems to be so far that you don't really need to. You can learn enough about these people just from watching how they act on Perfect Match. Also, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention that there was no one included from Indian matchmaking. Now, I know what you're thinking, that their parents will probably disapprove, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't make good TV. I guess the idea of this show is like you're trying to find your perfect match, and in the end, only one perfect match will remain. I don't know if there's money involved, or maybe I missed that part, but only one can win. But there's like an odd number of people in the house, so there's always like 2 people left out. It's kind of like the musical chairs of dating shows. Probably none of that made sense, but let's get into these episodes. So in episode 1, of course, we're gonna get to know who's in the house. But with this cast, people are gonna be coming and going. So I'm gonna break down real quick who starts off in the house. First off, we got Francesca. She's from Too Hot to Handle. She's obviously going to be very popular in the house, and she's not unsure of it. She tells the world that when she likes someone, they're already obsessed with her. So, good for you, Queen. Next up, we got Joey from The Circle, and I'm not really proud to say that I've never seen The Circle, but I just couldn't get into it. But he seems like he's going to be somewhat of the comedic relief of the show, and we already got drama, because he has history with at least 2 girls on the show. One of them being Francesca. So I'm on person number 2, and it's already drama. Next, we got another dude from The Circle. That's Nick. He seems like a very nice fellow. No drama so far. Onward. Then we got Anne-Sophie from Selling Tampa. And just a quick shout out to Netflix for the representation, especially during Black History Month. These are things we love to see. Then we got Ines, and she's from The Circle, the France edition. So that's even more diversity. Then we got your boy, Shane from Love is Blind. Those eyes are back, and they're even more haunting than ever. Also, just in case you guys were thirsty, we got some early tea, because it turns out that, allegedly, according to Natalie, he applied for this TV show while they were still dating. Why were they even still dating? Now, of course, I'm not going to cast judgment until I get his side of the story, but that's what she's talking about. Anyway, then we got Dom from The Mole, which I'm not proud to say I've never heard of. But it sounds like the idea is that you got 12 people working to complete these different missions. At the end of these missions, you earn money. The only problem is one of those 12 people is like only there to sabotage it, but you have no idea which one it is. So the whole time, everyone's trying to figure out who's the mole. And right there, just describing it sounds interesting, and now I'll be forced to watch it. Thank you, Netflix. Next up, we got the homie Zay from The Ultimatum. We did cover that on Taste Take, so I obviously know him. He's the one that was called on the show and given an ultimatum by his girl, but ended up being the one that seemed like he wanted to give her the ultimatum. He's single. Then we got Carousel from Sexy Beasts. If you haven't heard of that show, just don't watch it. If you have heard of that show, she was the panda. And last but not least, we got Savannah, also from The Circle, which I think they might be in the lead here. But Yeah, that like wraps up our intro cast. So the first mission when you get in the house is to pretty much find a match. You're not stuck with that person for the rest of the show, but the idea is to like find your perfect love match. But you need to have a match or else you're going home, like the two odd people out. So right now in the beginning, everyone's just talking and mingling and trying to find a quick, perfect match. Now I mentioned that Joey had a history with Francesca, but he also had a history with Carousel. So they get back to canoodling and they become our first match. The rest of the first day matches are as follows. We got Shane and Ines, we got Francesca and Dom, we got Savannah and Nick's business arrangement, and we got Anne-Sophie and Zay's pretty much also business arrangement. I think the craziest thing here was when Francesca and Dom had already started also canoodling, and then Nick freaking chases them up the stairs to like try to talk to Fran, and I'm like, bro, like you can see them walking together, and he's like, can I get 5 minutes talking to you? And she's like, I think you're too late. And he has to walk down the stairs alone and explain what happened to Savannah. Also, Zay was kind of cringy too, because he said that he thought he was going to be a first round draft pick, but he ended up not getting picked by anybody. So him and Anne-Sophie just ended up being stuck with each other at the end. Anyway, the first challenge is that water bucket thing where if they answer the questions wrong, they get water dumped on their partner's head. But like, it's 90 degrees, so like it's probably refreshing. Why not just make them dunk into like an ice bath, like where something's actually uncomfortable? Anyway, Savannah and Nick end up winning this challenge, so they get to control the board, which is important. So when you have that power, you go into the little fancy boardroom, Nick Lachey comes out to coach you through it, and you get to pick 2 new people to come into the house. This time around, they choose Chase from Too Hot to Handle to go on a date with Carousel, and then they choose Calvin from The Circle to go on a date with Anne-Sophie. Boom, next episode, episode 2. So let's recap some of the match drama before we get into the next challenge. Now remember, Chase is now in the house, first to go out with Carousel. Joey is upset that this is happening. Carousel is not upset that this happened. They already make out like pretty much immediately. Then all of a sudden, Carousel is mad that Joey didn't get jealous enough. That's Carousel. Francesca and Nick start talking, and this dude's trying to climb his way out of the friend zone. He's not even in yet. Then she's like, yeah, maybe if you would have like hit me up sooner, it could have been a thing. And he's like, what? It's kind of like that Nicole Kidman and Jimmy Fallon bit on his show where he was like, what? It was like that. Then Hurricane Chase comes in and he's trying to get time with Francesca. Francesca is quite literally sitting on Dom's lap. This dude is a problem. I'm going to say that over and over. This dude is a problem. But then Francesca just tells Chase that she likes Dom because of his painted nails and his style. Like, what's that got to do with his personality? If he's nice? Or, come on, Francesca. Chase leaves that conversation to go grab Savannah. This dude is a collector. He's a menace, and he's on the loose. And someone needs to put a leash on this dude. Nick and Ines get some time to talk. This dude is feeling everybody in the house. And I think she might be feeling him too. And of course, that makes Shane's eyes pop out of the socket even further than they already are, because he doesn't want his girl talking to anyone else, even though she don't even like him. But for some reason, she's still playing the game. She invites him back to her room, and they become a match again. So then you got Calvin and Anne-Sophie having their like second date kind of thing. And no one wants to see this. No one asked for this. She hates being there. This dude talks in riddles. He looks like he's going to the prom. No one told him to wear a full suit on the beach, which is good that Zay called him out. But in the end, it's going to be Zay and Calvin pretty much slow dancing with each other. Because out of nowhere, Hurricane Chase comes back and swoops up Anne-Sophie. Girl, you got to run. Francesca and Dom, they match again. Savannah and Nick, they match again like business partners. Joey has been asleep this entire episode. He wakes up just long enough to throw some shade at Carousel and then begrudgingly say that yes, he will match with her again. But still, the wildest part of this whole little matchmaking scene is Chase telling Anne-Sophie that he's feeling her. And she's like, Chase, just don't embarrass me. And girl, that's exactly what he's gonna do. So then Nick Lachey comes out for our second challenge. This was that kissing thing. So they're all blindfolded and wearing headphones, and everyone is gonna kiss everyone. If you needed a sign that COVID was over, it's this. And honestly, I took more detailed notes on this scene than I'm willing to admit, but let me just focus on some of the headlines here. Everyone loves Ines. Well, at least her kiss game. And then you have the stupid trope because she's from France and they were French kissing. So that was happening. I think people also like Nick's kisses a lot because even the big deal here was that Francesca gave him a 9 and she only gave Dom an 8. So he was sad about that. He gets sad a lot. You'll see that as we go on. It's almost officially confirmed that Chase is only on this show to troll because he gave Carousel a 1 on their kiss and claimed that she chipped his tooth. But it really was just a strategy move so him and Anne-Sophie could win the challenge, which they end up doing. Now they control the board. Francesca and Dom have the lowest kiss score here, which is not like a big deal. Like, it was an 8, it's fine. But what it revealed is that Savannah is creeping on Dom. And she's like, I see him looking at me, and I'm definitely looking at him. So the winning team does get a one-on-one date, and they send Chase and Anne-Sophie to this like spa thing. So Chase is giving Anne-Sophie a massage, and he's gaslighting her from here to Kingdom Come. And he calls her his little chocolate drop. And for a dude that's probably at least some part black, it still sounded racist. This dude is an official con artist, and I don't even know how no one sees this. This episode ends with Francesca and Dom finally having their real kiss, and I guess it was a little better than an 8. Boom, episode 3. Let's get into some of the early drama here. Carousel, who is allegedly obsessed with Joey, somehow is caught up on this Chase kiss. She's mad that she got a 1. Which is fair, like no one else got a 1. It's pretty messed up. Then we find out, believe it or not, that Chase didn't chip his tooth from this Carousel kiss. He's just trolling. This guy's toxic. They got a scene where Dom and Francesca are talking, and Dom tells her that he can't wait for his mom to meet her. And she says, that's so cute. The amount of hate she has for this man, and he can't see it, it's blinding. Dom, between me and you, this woman will never meet your mother, respectfully. I still don't really understand what Ines is doing with Shane, but maybe just to stay in the game. Did y'all see when they were laying in bed and they had the night vision camera? You can see every single vein in his back. I hope y'all saw that. If you didn't, rewind it. This dude looked like Bane. There's something not regulation about this dude. Then you got Savannah talking to the girls, and she's kind of dissing Nick. She's clowning him, talking about, he asked me to cuddle last night, and I said he can cuddle me for 2 minutes. Like laughing in his face. Okay, Savannah, we're going to come back to this moment. Just know, we're going to come back to this moment. Savannah also doesn't think that Francesca likes Dom. And that is correct. All right, back to the board. So remember in the first episode, we had Nick and Savannah choosing freaking Calvin and freaking Chase to come into the house. Now in the boardroom, we got Chase and Anne-Sophie. They get to pick 2 women to come in the house. So first up, they choose Nick to go on a date with Izzy from Too Hot to Handle. But which dude is going to be the other dude to go on a new date? And Chase is like looking at all the dudes. He goes, well, they're good. Nah, they're good. They're solid. They're solid. That just leaves me. And Anne-Sophie's like, leaves you to what? So they cut to Anne-Sophie walking back to the rest of the cast. She's by herself. And she walks up looking all sad. And everyone's like, what the hell was going on? So she's like, Nick, congratulations. You got a date with a baddie. It's Izzy from Too Hot to Handle. Have fun. So everyone's like, where's Chase? And then she's like, yeah, he also has a date with a baddie. It's Georgia, also from Too Hot to Handle. It's not funny what he did to her. It's all super awkward. But then you flash forward to this date between Chase and Georgia. Georgia is from Too Hot to Handle, like I just said. She's Australian. And does anyone else think that she looks like Margot Robbie? Not just because she's Australian. It's just how she looks. Also, why would they have this as their first date? Paddleboarding with no instructor? Like, just sit down on the beach and just talk. Anyway, then they cut over to Nick's first date with Izzy, and they're just chilling in the hot tub. Much better first date, if you ask me. And this is when I realized that Nick is easily the best dude on the whole show. And honestly, Izzy seems nice too. And literally, when I was typing, Izzy seems nice, like for my notes, like they started making out, like right in the middle. Like they just met, and then they were like, let's make out. And I was like, it don't make her not nice. But I was like, damn. making out. So boom, both those dates are done. Everyone comes back to the whole crew. So as soon as Nick comes back on this fire-ass date that he had with Izzy, guess who shows up first? Scheming ass Savannah. She's like, oh my God, hey Nick, how are you? Come on, like, walk with me, talk to me. Can I get you a drink? But you was just, no, we're gonna get back to that, So Savannah being the schemey old scheme, she leaves Nick for a second, and what she really wants is a conversation with Dom. So she's eyeing him, waiting for him to get a moment. But Francesca got him on a freaking leash, which is awkward because she didn't even like him, but she still got him on the, you know? So she finally gets him and she's like, can we talk? And Dom's like, okay. And she's like, yeah, you know, I was kind of feeling you, I catch you looking at me, And he's basically like shutting it down immediately. He's like, maybe if you would have said something first or earlier, that would have changed things. Like, I was attracted to you. And she's like, was? Like, you're not anymore? He's like, girl, I can't help you. Cut over to Francesca, and she's over there trying to politic with the new girls. And she's just telling them, whatever y'all do, just pick Shane or Nick. Just trying to tell them, number one, don't mess with my man, who I don't even like. And number two, stay away from Chase, because he sucks. Then comes Ines, the same girl who was kind of curving Nick when he was like, yo, I'm kind of feeling you. Comes up all awkward like, when you get a second, can I talk to you? Nick, don't fall for it. Back then, they ain't want you. Now you hot, they all on you. Cut back over to Dom and Francesca. Dom admits everything to Francesca. He's like, look, babe, this is what happened. She came up, she told me she was feeling me. I'm just telling you the truth. And she's like, okay, no, that's fucking schemy, but I'm glad you told me. Thank you, I appreciate it. She is pissed. I don't know why she's pissed, because she only, okay. Then back to Ines groveling in front of Nick, and she's like, I'm feeling you. Like, if Shane picks me again, I'm just gonna volunteer and go home. You're lying. Please remember, Izzy was Nick's date. Now, of course, you're supposed to figure out your perfect match. You're not locked with him. I said that in the beginning. But that was his date. So Izzy is now talking to Shane. And then Izzy's like, isn't it kind of weird? Like, isn't Nick your friend? He's like, I couldn't care less. And she's like, whoa, she's kind of feeling that. You don't really care, but when Nick came back from his date, you were the first person to walk up and dap him up, like, what's good, bro? I'm just saying, it's a TV show. Like, they're recording everything. Then we get pretty much the biggest moment of the whole episode, this matchup between Savannah and Francesca. Because Francesca's like, can we talk? And Savannah's like, yeah, we can talk. So they have this whole blow up about how it's so shady for Savannah to try to talk to Dom. And then Savannah very eloquently is like, what do you mean? The whole show is to find a perfect match. And she's like, yeah, but that's my man. And she goes, are y'all in a relationship? And she's like, that's not the point. So then Savannah's like, what do you mean? That's the whole point. Like, and at the first time, I'm like, yo, Francesca is going to eat this girl alive. But then Savannah wasn't backing down. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a great matchup. And Savannah's asking the right questions, and Francesca don't got the right answers. So it's good. So Francesca's basically like threatening her, like, either you're going to have to go home, or if you stay here, like, my friends will bully you. Which is like childish, but also like kind of gangster. But also kind of messed up. Like, bullying is not cool. Then Francesca just gets up and walks away and goes back and sits down with, who is it? Anne-Sophie and Carousel. So she's like, I can't stand her. So you're thinking like, all right, the episode's gonna end, blah, blah, blah. Savannah's like gonna just take the L. Boom. No, Savannah pulls back up like, yeah, I wasn't done. And they get back at it. And they're going back and forth, back and forth. Carousel and freaking Anne-Sophie are just like Savannah's kind of winning this. And the reason why she's winning this is because Francesca really don't like Dom. So I don't know why she's fighting so hard. If she just wants to stay in the house or she just feels disrespected. Anyway, so what's even crazier than Savannah withstanding this Francesca onslaught, pulling back up for more after we thought it was all over? What she did next was even crazier. She just pulls back up on Dom for more conversation. Like, after all that talk about not talking to her man, she did it anyway, which is like messed up, I guess, for like girl code, but like impressive. Anyway, Dom being Dom, he can't handle it. He looks to Francesca for help, and she's like, no, don't do it. Like when you're a kid and your mom sees you about to like touch the stove, and your mom's like, don't you even. But that's not his mom. It's his girl. Boom, episode 4. We left off with Francesca basically scolding Dom for even entertaining the Savannah conversation. Now here, either Dom is super drunk or he has just completely regressed back to a child. This scene is so disgusting to watch. I don't even know what's wrong with this guy. Also, I don't know what's wrong with Francesca fighting so hard for a man that she doesn't even want. The human condition, some may say. Then sadly, we get more Chase content. Joey is basically pleading with Georgia to give Shane a chance, which is just another way of saying don't mess with Chase. So now that's the second warning you done got about staying away from Chase. Do with that information what you please. And Sophie then pulls up on Chase for another pointless conversation. Like, girl, don't even waste your time. She does indeed waste her time. Then Nick, Shane, Ines, and Izzy create this weird like alliance where like Nick matches with Ines and Shane matches with Izzy. Another business decision, but like for everyone to just mingle more, because Shane wants to talk to Izzy more and Nick likes Ines now, even though they just came back from this date. Like, it's just, it won't end well. So now it's winding down. The sun's getting real low on Savannah. Now Nick has to tell her pretty much it's over. So he pulls up. Now remember what I said earlier, we're going to get back to that. He pulls up on Savannah and he's like, the writing's on the wall. Like, look, Savannah has the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to tell him, you know, she's just going to leave you. Girl, what the hell were you going to do? Then she's like, no one knows what we did last night. Wait. What'd you do last night? Did I miss that? In the comments, please tell me if I missed that. Or did she just say that and imply something that was supposed to be implied? Because I didn't see that on my TV screen. And he didn't even really address it. And they didn't even put the little Netflix, you know, important music like doom and zoom in. Like, they just let it happen like she just said it like some regular stuff. I rewinded that thing just to make sure I heard what I heard. What is she talking about? Anyway, the point is, Savannah, you're on the way out. I hate it had to be you, but you're not that nice. I'm sorry. So back to the matches. Joey and Carousel match again. Very surprising. Georgia and Chase match. That poor girl. Francesca and Dom match again. When they be matching, they be looking so sad. I'm like, just don't match. Or at least try to look happy. Anyway, like I said, that leaves Savannah and Aunt Sophie to go home. Savannah has the nerve to say she started to have feelings for Nick. Girl, if you don't, just stop. You look crazy. Then all of a sudden we flash to Nick and he's not feeling Ines anymore. Did Nick just become the queen bee? Second half of the episode here, we got the next challenge. This is the one when they had to bid on all that stuff. The first bidding thing was for that push-up contest where you had to see how many push-ups you can do with your partner on your back. Dom and Francesca win this one. They're very motivated to win this challenge. The next thing is where they have to identify as many countries as they possibly can. And for some reason, Dom has a hard time understanding that Alaska's not a country. I mean, like, bro. Somehow they still win, but that's largely because Francesca has at least finished middle school. And she's also Canadian, so now that makes the freaking American public school system look crazy. The next challenge was like how many hot peppers you can eat, and Chase, for some reason, picks 30. Georgia is literally dying in front of his eyes, and Chase wants to keep going. The poor thing almost passes out before Chase is like, all right, we'll just tap out. The last challenge is untying those ropes, and that boils down to Francesca and Dom versus Izzy and Shane. And Dom and Francesca come out on top. They win the whole thing. They get a one-on-one date that's supposed to be very romantic. So their freaking date, they're just sitting there like eating fruits at like a picnic thing. And we just get to watch them for 5 minutes having the most awkward date, feeding each other foods that they don't even want, and just awkwardly kissing. So while they're on their date, the rest of the cast is like actually having fun. They've created this beer pong game where like if you make one in, you get to ask someone to do a dare. It's pretty revolutionary. By the time like Dom and Fran come back from their date, they're like, oh, what's up, y'all? Y'all back? You want to play? And Francesca, being like normal, she's like, yeah, I like to play. Boom, the first dare. They dare her to like do some Lady in the Tramp banana thing with a guy of the person's choice. Dom is like immediately crying about this whole thing, and she's like, all right, I guess I'm not allowed to do it. Another dare pops up for Nick and Izzy. They start kissing. Shane is now raging, even though Nick is the one that brought her here from the date. So there's that. But it's Shane, so he's gotta rage. But enough about that. The episode comes to a close with Francesca and Dom in the little boardroom picking 2 new dudes to come in the house. This is critical. So first up, they're trying to hook up Ines. So they're like, look, we got to get Ines a new date. She's not feeling Shane. Nick don't even want her no more. We got to hook our girl up. So they're like, all right, bet. They bring in none other than freaking Bartise from Love is Blind. And if you don't know Bartise, consider yourself blessed. Now I don't even know who's worse between him and Chase. But I guess we're going to figure it out pretty soon. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention how much I hate that Francesca says the word process instead of process. So after they pick Bartise and Ennis, they need another girl from the house to go on a new date. So freaking Francesca is like, who could it be? Who could it be? You know what it should be? Actually, me going on a date with Damien just so I can see what I need to see. Now, this whole taste take, I've been complaining that Francesca doesn't like Dom. It didn't stop me from dropping my jaw when she said that out loud in front of this dude's face. She really wants to go on a date with Damien. Which I guess, I should have known from the beginning. Like, Francesca came on this show, well, she's from Too Hot to Handle, and she was with Harry. She's got history with Joey. She wants to pick Damien. If you don't see a little trend there, it should have been clear that Dom stood no chance. And at this point, Dom, like, is it too late to call Savannah back? Yeah? Okay. So yeah, the episode pretty much comes to a freaking end, like, but not before Dom is crying all over my TV screen, asking if it's raining. What are you even doing? How old are you? I hate that you're sad, bro, but like, you're looking crazy on TV. Yeah, that's the whole episode. Then they got the freaking previews for the next couple episodes, which I'm gonna break down next week, but there's a lot of stuff that you can see in those previews. Like, it's one of those good previews, and like, next time on Perfect Match. I'm like, damn, they're going crazy. And if you for a quick second, I could have sworn I saw Georgia in bed with Dom. And I could have told y'all that because when Dom came back alone from the boardroom and they're like, yo, where's Francesca? They couldn't even believe that she picked a new date. That's nuts. But then the first person to stand up and ask if he wanted a hug was Georgia. And I'm not saying they're going to end up together, but I think they're going to have a little saga. But that's pretty much the first 4 episodes. Like, this is nuts. Ugh. I can't believe I watched all this nonsense, but what do you want me to do? So yeah, if you're feeling the video, you can like and subscribe to stuff. I'll be back next week to break down the next couple episodes. In the comments, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. You can talk about all the stuff I've been asking about, but how do you like the show so far? Do you think it's entertaining? Do you think that the cast, they picked the right people? How crazy and annoying do you think Bartise will be? Do you think Bartise is going to go through a rebrand? Is he going to change his narrative? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for the time, y'all. Peace.